and I'll get us onto Facebook Live.
Gonna keep an eye out on the other end just to see if he pops up as a attendee.
Okay.
So.
I can reach out to him too once we get started here.
All right.
Okay, we're live. Welcome. We're not quite halfway through our day, getting close. This is our middle panel of the day. We've got a producer panel that's going to be starting here just in a minute. I'm Dan Cornelius with Intertribal Ag Council. Want to just give a quick update of where we're at right now. We're starting the producer panel. We still have the IEC Youth Development and the Resiliency Through Agriculture panels this afternoon. We had a great opening followed by excellent culinary mentor and seed keeping panels. Just want to, if anyone's just tuning in, want to give a bit more background on how this event is working. We have the live sessions going all day, and then
no
we
sound
have
here, no sound.
Let's go home.
We have an extensive list of additional workshops that all of them are available on demand on the Intertribal Agriculture Council Network that's available at mightynetworks.com. You can go to the web, go through your web browser, or you can download the free app through your app store, request to join Intertribal Ag Council, and pretty easy to get in. And I just want to quickly hop over and show you just some of, you can see the list here, but I want to show you what it looks like, at least from my view. You can see some of the different workshops that we have listed in there. The other thing I'll mention is, unfortunately, we just can't come all together in person right now, given current circumstances. But we do have recorded content from past intertribal food summits that's available in a separate workshop on Mighty Networks under traditional foods and arts. So you can get a little bit of a glimpse from the past intertribal food summits. But here you can see this is the list of everything we have. So these are the recordings of all of the live streams and roundtables from earlier in the week. We've got the traditional foods as part of this event, separate from the more extensive workshop, and continuing down with ag production and policy, food and culinary. Each of these has its own recording and additional content from instructors, and then we've got the producer profile podcasts as well. So this is the Intertribal Agriculture Council Network on Mighty Networks. Anyone, if you have a problem, please feel free to email me, dan@indianag.org. Happy to help get you onto there. And please also do register for the event. You can you'll be able to have more information on there. The one last thing I wanted to mention before we get started with the panel is we're trying to get as many survey responses as possible today. This is the Intertribal Ag Council website, indianag.org. And then if you click on COVID resources, it'll bring up this page. We're collecting a series of surveys. We've got the producer survey, the grocer, the retailer, the distributor survey, tribal and community leaders, and then American Indian Foods participants. I'm just going to go ahead and click right here on you can see the results. This is each of the dots here. This indicates from across the country of where surveys are coming in from. I cover Great Lakes region. Great Lakes producers out there, please get on, fill out a survey. The next 20 surveys that come in, we're doing a raffle for a $200 Visa gift card. So it's 12:05 Mountain Time right now. Get on this website, fill out the survey. Should only take you 5 minutes. First 20, you got a chance for to win a $200 gift card. We're going to be doing another drawing for another $200 gift card for the whole day. But this is your chance. Get on. Please share this information. Why we're collecting this information is that we're using it for our policy initiatives, both for advocacy efforts to Congress and tribal leaders, but also of identifying where are there gaps, where do we need to be putting more of a focus on development of policy, not just in COVID response, but discussions are underway right now for the next Farm Bill. And how can we bring more support to our communities to support tribal food, agriculture, community development? So that's why it's important. And I just want to turn it over to you quickly. I know that you had just a couple of more things you wanted to mention with the Mighty Networks and how people can get access to that platform.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks so much, Dan. When you do register, you're able, once you land on the Mighty Network site, you'll just enter a couple of information, your email, and answer a couple of different questions. Once you submit that request is sent to us, so that just the request for access is sent to us. We'll approve you. And then you'll receive an approval email just to confirm that you are part of this network. That email should be received within minutes of your request. And I think I found mine in my promotion box in Gmail. So if you just look in your promotion box, or again, any one of your inboxes, you should find just a email from Mighty Network titled, let me see what it says. You're almost in. Action required before you can join Intertribal Agriculture Council. So once you confirm that, you'll be taken to Mighty Network and you'll be able to view and access all of the great content we've been, that Dan's been talking about. There's just so much available. You'll definitely be binge watching all of these and not Netflix for all of Saturdays. So
yeah, and I'm sharing my screen here. This is a separate workshop. The Traditional Tools and Foods is a separate complete workshop from the virtual Intertribal Food Summit. But this is just, this is what you can get access to, of why, you can see all of these different topics here. And part of why we have this process to request access is that these resources are really intended for our tribal community members. And so just to have a bit of a screening process on there, that we don't have it open to the general public and the trolls and whatnot. So we apologize that there's an extra step to get on, but it's to help to protect some of this knowledge. So again, this is the resource. That workshop is the Traditional Food and Arts, and then right here is the virtual Intertribal Food Summit. So just wanted to take a second to give a bit more background. Again, the live streams, though, are all available on Facebook, and then we're posting them to YouTube as well. I'll turn it back over to Lottie to start our producer panel.
Great. And we're just waiting for one more panelist, but we are really excited that our AIF program participants are able to join us. And so, yeah, let's just kick off the panel discussion today, or the producer panel roundtable. Before we dive in, I'm Latasha Redhouse. I'm the IAC's American Indian Foods Program Director, and I'll shoot it over to Courtney. She can go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney Fisher. I'm the Assistant Director of the American Indian Foods Program. And if you have any questions at any time, just shoot them in the chat box or on the comments in the Facebook Live feed, and we can get those answered in real time.
Great. And before we move forward, I just wanted to double check on you, Michael. Are you able to hear us still, or are you still having trouble accessing audio?
He's unable to access audio at this time still, Latasha.
Okay. We'll keep double checking or revisiting with him. But before, again, we'll just go ahead and give each of the producers a time to share information about their organization. We'll start off with you, Dawn.
Thanks. Thank you. First, I would just want to say thank you to everybody, the Intertribal Ag Council, American Indian Foods Program, also the Intertribal Foodways, and having this opportunity to speak and being able to talk about our business and other businesses and getting the word out there always breaks that isolation down, and being able to create these partnerships that we, these wonderful partnerships. So I just want to thank you guys, and then also thank everybody that has attended. My name is Dawn Sherman. I represent the Lakota and also the Shawnee and Delaware tribes out of South Dakota and Oklahoma. I am the CEO of Native American Natural Foods, and we make the Tonka Bar, and we also have a couple other entities that we work together with that are part of our group, which is Tonka Fund and Tonka Resilient Agriculture.
Great, thanks so much, Dawn. We'll go ahead and move on to, we got Nate Koch and Michael Scott. They are partners that oversee the Arctic Circle Wild Seafood business. So do you guys want to go ahead and give an overview of your business? I'll go ahead and see what I can do with Mike on the back end real quick.
Hello?
Great. Was that Michael Scott?
Yeah, I can't hear anything, but this is Mike. Did you come to me or Nate? I can't tell.
Yeah, let's see. Nate, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? And then I'll go ahead and call Mike.
Okay, this is Nate Koch. I'm calling you from Kotzebue, Alaska.
Just join FaceTime.
So for us, our morning is still here. It's about a little after 10. The name of our company is Arctic Circle Wild Seafood. We began our company some years ago with a different name when we were with Manilic Services. At that time, we were looking for a way to enhance our fishery up here with our local native fishermen. As time has gone on, we've been able to build pretty good program of making sure and ensuring that the prices are better here, and by marketing our fish. We created Arctic Circle Wild Seafood about 3-4 years ago, I think it was now, where Mike Scott, myself, and our wives, who are American natives, Alaska natives, and so therefore we were able to continue in the program, and we have been marketing our salmon overseas and kind of expanding our products and the program has really worked really well for us. And glad to see some of you other ladies there. Hi, Courtney. Hi, Don, who have gone on many of the other trips with us. Like I said, I know that Michael can talk. He's unable to hear everybody else, but certainly with Latasha getting hold of him, at minimum, he'll be able to give a better overview of the program and services that we're doing. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nate. And we do have a representative from Dynamite Hill Farms on today. I'm not sure if you'd like to just give a quick introduction of yourself in Dynamite Hill Farms.
Yeah, I am bonjour. Can everyone hear me okay?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Mike, can you hear us?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm sorry. You can continue and give your introduction.
All right. Ngayon jida mang kitote miss kabe kagen don jiba makunta banyan baba ban nishnabe and kaga ban ninta zigwanike and there's so hello everyone. I am not the typical face of Dynamite Hill Farms. Normally a lot of you all I think on the panel and probably in the audience know of my partner Jerry Jandro. He's down actually in Albuquerque right now. He is out on wild and fire duty. And so I am here at holding down the fort, as you know, you call it, taking care of kind of the day-to-day business here on Dynamite Hill Farms. So we're a real small production. We're real small producers. We're just really getting started really early on in what it means to be indigenous and traditional food producers. We are focusing right now on some of our homelands here. We're in the Anishinaabe country, Oma Anishinaabe King, here up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I myself am originally I'm a Red Cliff Band member over from Wisconsin. Jerry is a Keweenaw Bay Indian community member. And so the work that we're doing is here on his actual homelands here in the Keweenaw Bay and the Upper Peninsula. But a lot of what we're working on kind of spans across and across here in Anishinaabe. We look to do a lot of work in actually trying to reevaluate what it means to be in terms of food production versus the standard understanding of like what agriculture maybe now has been come to understand. And so we have space and we have space available for to actually utilize our specific home. So we are concentrating on 2 specific foods right now, which is sugar production and syrup production, and maple syrup production, and then wild rice production. And so we're really reevaluating what that looks like, right? Because those of us who work with the wild foods understand that wild food doesn't stay inside a fence or doesn't really stay just kind of locked behind in these fields and whatnot. And so we're really reevaluating what does that look like now, working within like a capitalist structure, and how do we kind of start to disentangle ourselves from those institutions. And so that's been a lot of what we're doing in these early years. We're real small for we tapped about 560 plus trees this year, which is the most amount of trees that we've done, which is great. We're really proud of ourselves for that. We still actually have to travel to access rice and to do the full ricing production. And so Jerry travels from our home here, and he travels all the way over in Minnesota to do work with folks over that way. We're really lucky. We have people who are willing and able to allow us to come and spend our time. And so that's kind of a real small overview. We're very family oriented right now. So it's us, and especially with the way COVID has kind of impacted everything, us and our 6 kids. And that's kind of who's been working this year. So my son and I were having competitions to see how many tons of sap we could each haul. We only have 3 lines that we actually use on our trees. Otherwise, he and I are still hauling by hand from the trees that we have access to back here. And so we're really trying to figure out what does production mean, what does access mean, what our traditional economy is, and balancing all of those understandings while still battling with that idea of, how do we do what we're looking to do, traditional, community and communal access in a time and place where maybe just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of us can actually even get there. So that's kind of where we're starting from. And I am very pleased and surprised to be joining the panel today. So I'll do a lot of listening, but if there's any questions, if anyone has any direct questions for us, please feel free. And it's nice to officially meet all of your faces. Jerry does a lot of this work, and so I've heard about so many of all of you. I usually am the one back hauling from the trees or working on the rice or actually doing the packaging and, sitting at the table. So it's kind of nice to be seeing everyone here up front. So, bonjour, Gakina, and I'm really pleased to be in here from you all. Miigwech.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the impromptu join and for the amazing overview. We actually were able to secure some of your guys' amazing leek salt the other day. So we're pretty excited for that. But yeah, Latasha, should we dive into the Q&A portion? I see we have Nathan Wright here. If you'd like to introduce yourself and give a quick overview about Herbal Lodge.
Oh,
let's try that.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, my name is Nathan Wright, and I'm with a company called Herbal Lodge. Herbal Lodge was co-founded by myself and Monica Katie. We've been in business for over 11 years. I think we've been with the Intertribal Agricultural for 6 or 7 years. We've worked with fellow people that are here, Mike and Don and Nate. And of course, I think Dan is over here somewhere. But we've been in business for 12 years. We sell traditional, well, let me start again. We have Native American salves that we make, like a pain reliever, muscle pain, joint pain, arthritis, dry skin salves. We make herbal teas, and we follow traditional practices, but we also educate people with our culture, our traditions, and we try to blend, you know, the traditional with the modern, which is not always easy, as I think some of us who are doing that know. And we've been pretty successful at it. And we're always working like the rest of you guys. And I'm trying to think. We do plant walks. We advocate for the environment because we have to, because we it's kind of like going out to our farm, and if someone was polluting your farm, you're going to advocate to not have that pollution on your farm. So we have to do that because we're all over with our wild harvesting. I literally farm out in the land, state land, federal land, whatever, that's where we farm at. So we actually have spots that we go to every year that we watch the sustainability of what we do work, how we help out with the animals that are in the area as well. And just following, you know, typical sustainability practices of not over harvesting, which we're really big on. We will never introduce a product that we're not able to sustainably harvest. If there's even any doubt of that ability, then we just don't do it. And what else? We've been excited to be with the program here and meet all the people that are here. And I'm sure we'll get into more discussion later. Good to see Dawn and good to see Mike here. And nice to meet the Dynamite Hill Farms as well. So been a weird year for all of us, but we're all making it through. So miigwech for having me here. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Nathan. I'm so glad you were able to join us. We're just going to jump right into Q&As. So you guys kind of gave a brief overview of your businesses, but I know things have been changing tremendously since the pandemic. But we wanted to kind of focus in on the wins, like those really huge successes, and maybe what each of you can just share in briefly kind of what new products are going to be released soon, or what you've been working on. I know that Dawn, you guys had plans for a huge announcement at Natural Products Expo West. Maybe you can share information about that. Herbal Lodge, again, like it would be just great to hear how everyone just re-strategizing, using this downtime to just look back and soak in all the successes from the past years, and then looking forward to new successes as we're moving into 2020 and the future. So Dawn, if you want to lead off on that, that'd be great.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, it has been a crazy year for everybody, you know, trying to react and keep your businesses going with all, you know, everything that's been going on. But with Native American Natural Foods, or Tonka Bar, I'll just a quick overview to explain the product. It is a traditional bar that was made out of a recipe that we use on the Pine Ridge Reservation and in our tribe, called wasna, which is where we took the meat and pounded a high acid fruit to preserve it. So this process has been done traditionally for thousands and thousands of years, and that's what has sustained our people. And almost all tribes across the world or country has some way of preserving meat or fish in a traditional way. So what we did is we took that recipe and we modernized it. And we created the Tonka Bar from two social entrepreneurs on the Pine Ridge Reservation, Mark Tilson and Carlene Hunter. And what came out of it, obviously, is the Tonka Bar, which a lot of people have seen it. They've tasted it, but if you haven't, it's delicious. It's smoky, sweet, and tender. And we just modernized that recipe to attack those issues that we had on the reservation. One, to open up, show that you can do business on reservations, for-profit businesses. Also to attack those issues of food. We have a traditional food that is healthy for you, that sustains you. And the obesity, the diabetes that we have on our reservations, that, you know, that was one reason, is to give back to that community and offer these foods in a form that's friendly as we're moving forward. Things that we have been doing with what's been going on, we've had during the COVID, we've been able to pivot fairly well because we have a unique product that is shelf stable. So it does not have to be refrigerated, you know, and it can be shipped. So we've been able to partner with somebody and with the grant. So we've been able to offer our food to Navajo Nation and to our own community on the Pine Ridge Reservation. So some of our big wins there is that through this, as the fresh frozen meat had declined in the inventory, people had said, hey, what about Tonka? We'd love to have Tonka in our boxes. This is, this is shelf stable. Some of these people don't have refrigerators, and just get some healthy protein out to these people. So that was a big win for us. And it's been great. And that partnership actually has worked through our three-legged stool. So what we have done, our big announcement that we're talking about, is that we found some new stability through over this past year is the support that we've created, a solution, what we feel to attack that on Pine Ridge Reservation and in our communities, is that the three entities I talked about. You have Tonka Bar, which is a value-added product, and then we have Tonka Resilient Ag, which will be bison and cattle producers, and then our Tonka Fund, which is our nonprofit. And we all have overarching missions, which is to return buffalo to the lands, lives, and economy of our people. That is who we are. The buffalo are who we are. It's where we're at. So creating that unique three-legged stool has helped us be able to support the producer itself. And in that, helping that producer, we're helping regenerative ag, we're getting value-added product out, soil health, all of that. So that was kind of our newfound stability. Now, what we were going to announce at Expo West was our new partnership that we have come in. So throughout this years, as everybody knows, we've had competition, brands that are very similar to ours that have come and mimicked our similar bar. So we have brought in new partnerships, and we'll be announcing some new investment here coming up soon. But our biggest partner is Nyman Ranch. So they have come in as a collaborative partner with Native American Natural Foods and Tonka Bar to help meet our goal of returning buffalo back. So they have come on. That's the big announcement that we're going to make. We're really excited about it. We have similar missions together. It's all to bring the producers and support those producers, whether it's infrastructure, animal certifications, anything that they need through this system. Nyman has done that. So they have also come in. So they are coming in to support us, not only in the Tonka Bar side for the brand itself, but also on that producer side as we bring those individual producers back. So those are a couple of the wins that we've had and the announcements that we've brought to the table for this year during COVID.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I see Michael Scott. I know we missed your introduction, but if you want to go ahead and respond to the question with your introduction, that would be great. We'll see if your audio is working. Oh, we just got to unmute you. Sorry.
Let me see if I can ask to unmute. It should give you the option.
There we go.
Yay.
There we're live. Okay. Yeah. So I'm Mike Scott, and this is my wife, Lydia. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, Latasha, I think you maybe met her at the first show you were at. That was Miami, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we're, as you can tell from the trees and things around us, we're in the Arctic, the sunny Arctic, North Carolina at the moment.
Oh.
And here with our daughter and grandchildren. So, yeah, no, I think, for Arctic Circle Wild Salmon, this has been an interesting time. Our largest customer, we lost about 30% of the sales on that. And generally each year we try a new product, but, take a salmon, do something with it, take a she fish, do something with it. But not this year, because we're really, the COVID-19 has had not just an impact on people's health, but now recently in China, there's some discussion about they found it on salmon. It was farm salmon on a board that was used. And so we're taking a double hit now because salmon sales, are not exactly rosy at this point, nor are the forecasts for the next year. So we're probably not going to be doing anything new beyond what because every year we've introduced something new. But this year, we're just hoping to get to a show, you know, and hopefully the ones in September can make it. But, you know, I think, you know, for us, we've been doing this about 10 years now, and it's been something that we started, you know, that was to, you know, help the local fishermen get a better price. And now it's, you know, about, can we actually, you know, this coming year, make money? So it's a tough year. And when you lose 30% of your largest customer, who was a good chunk, it's a great restaurant chain. Because we decided years ago to get away from just commodity sales, you know, buying and selling, but go to value added. And ultimately that would help raise the price for the fishermen. And that's really what we've done. And now that Nate and Betty Nelson, Nate's wife, Lydia, and I, you know, have Arctic Circle Wild Seafood, you know, we're trying to make this so that the value chain really is, you know, filled with the kind of products that really can keep that price up. And we just saw that Norwegian salmon is tumbling, which is going to hurt us, and it's going to make it tough. So this time right now and going forward, there's a lot of uncertainty for us, and I think at that point, then you got to kind of pull things back in and you know, save what resources you have for the customers you still have to serve. So I wish it was a much brighter and rosier one, but you know, better than, you know, might as well just say what we know.
Right. No, and I agree with our, it's been a tough time for our harvesters, our seafood harvesters, and we've been trying to help navigate that, find different resources. But we really appreciate your take on that. And it's good to see Lydia. It's good to see you guys are nice in a nice warm
good to
area.
See you too.
So Nate, do you want to go ahead and follow up with that, or with your take for the future, and do you have new product that you're going to be releasing soon?
Thank you, Latasha. As Mike said, you know, this is going to be a pretty tough year, I think, for us, but we have to continue to look toward the future. So naturally, we're not stopping with the introduction of products that we hope to bring on board. You know, I think we've been trying to market for quite a while now, I think for the last couple of years on our trips to overseas, especially Hong Kong, our she fish. And as Mike has told you about some of the problems that's going on with the salmon industry, she fish is a unique product. It's something that nobody else has. And so we've been slowly marketing that. And you know, we really actually had a very good client on our last trip to Hong Kong that we really believe was going to launch that new fish product. And as COVID-19 hit, as you know, that particular company, who was one of the top companies in Hong Kong, has actually gone under. So that was a missed opportunity at that time. But we still believe that this new product is something that's going to help move the company forward and create an additional service for the fishermen that we have here as well. I think that Mike hit it right on the head. You know, we'll continue to move forward. We still have, you know, some customers that we'll work with, and we'll try to move that the best way that we can. But I do want to say that without American Indian Foods, we would have never been here this long at all. American Indian Foods has really been the catalyst that's helped us market our products, and we hope to continue with that relationship.
Great. And Nathan from Herbal Lodge, are you wanting to share some information about like any new products that you want to introduce?
Sure. Let me grab a sheet here.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get on this here. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk. So yeah, the COVID time has, been tough for everybody. But I think in the spirit of creativity and imagination that we are known as Indigenous people, all those little things that we had in the back of our minds are starting to come out now to do. So we've been working on quite a number of different types of products. And as I mentioned before, our big thing is sustainability when we go out and wild harvest. Some things we do get from an organic farm, but our goal is to try to get a majority of things that we wild harvest, because we feel that there's a connection that we gain from the land, a better understanding of the land. I've been doing this thing lately called the medicine run. And so after I harvest an area, because I'm a runner, I will run like a medicine run, and I see plants and herbs on the side, and it's kind of part of it's R&D in to see where the medicine is. But there's another part that I really value that comes out of it, and that is that connection. And it's kind of like the way when you farm your land or you have your animals or your agriculture, you have a connection to it. And when you have that connection, you put that love and that care into what you do. And your customers, I believe, resonate from it. And it's not like an assembly line, it's more than that. And so it's almost like the more you go out in the woods, the more it changes you to become more of a human, more connected with what is around you. So that being said, we have worked on a couple of new products that we're looking at. We're definitely getting into some teas, some unique teas, specifically tree bark teas. We have a nerve damage tea that's out now that's made from tamarack bark that we sustainably harvest. And we also have an accompanied salve that goes along with it, which is a Minigan nerve salve, which is specifically for people with nerve damage, neuropathy. Dawn had mentioned about the concern about people with diabetes. Well, we have a lot of medicines for people in those types of conditions, and that is one of them, Minigan nerve. The other ones, I probably got 20 of them on the list, but I hope to get at least 4 of them out this year, if not sooner. We have to kind of test the process because we're doing something that hasn't been done before, and that is take something and modernize it without affecting it in a negative way. So we, like I said, our number one concern always is sustainability. So we have to kind of try these different things and then see how they work with our different people who test it. And we're excited to introduce these things and to have them help people. And when we're looking at medicines that work, that really do work, we don't look, there's certain herbal remedies that you have to take over a period of time to get it to work. We like to introduce herbs that work for people that they can feel the results right away. Not that there's anything bad with waiting a little bit, because that's how herbs are. But in this type of business, people want to feel the effects right away. And tamarack is a really good thing to feel the effects right away. And then what was the other? I didn't hear the other part of your question that you had regarding.
Oh, that was it. I just wanted to know if there were any we know that the pandemic has stirred the pot and really showed the fragility of our food systems and just the supply in general. So you did share, how you're creating the sustainability efforts while also, creating new product. I think everyone at this point really has time to think of ideas and really just kind of have a moment to really strategize and take a deep breath, because I think in years past, all of you guys have been on the road with international trade shows through the American Indian Foods Program. So you guys have stayed pretty busy. So I'm sure this time is just nice to kind of sit back. But in the back of your mind, because you are business owners, that you are constantly thinking of how to survive. And I love how most of the producers have adapted. Some of them have incorporated e-commerce. Some of them have amped up their marketing tactics. Some of them, have teamed up with other Native American influencers to really broaden their awareness and their story. So I think it's really amazing just how everyone has become so creative, but that everyone within Indian Ag have kind of just teamed up and have been really vocal in sharing how we've all been moving together forward. So I really appreciate everyone. And I don't want to forget, so Dynamite Hills, let's see what you guys have percolating for 2020.
I mean, it's so, I guess what I'll talk a little bit too is about some of the changes first, and then what that has then kind of pushed forward for. And I just want to do a little shout out to Tonka bars and the other runners, because I myself, I'm a runner, and them Tonka bars are what gets you through the like mile 12. So real appreciating that, and like kind of a little bit of fangirl right here. I'm excited. But so one of the things that's really interesting about our company is because we're still so new, right? Like, so Jerry left his job full time this past fall. Rice, this is his first full rice season and his first full sugar season. And myself, I've been participating in this in the last few years. And because my background comes from language and culture and immersion settings, I'm really fortunate. I come from a place where I've done this with youth and with education and with students for a real long time. And part of what this year turned into be, and then COVID then kind of, I guess would say exasperated, but maybe we could say enhanced, was that idea of like being here, being in this place and understanding yourself from place. And that's been a really big theme throughout this year. One of the pieces is the fact that because we're still so new, and with everything that's happening, is that everything we're doing is kind of developing new things, new ideas. Mostly what we're focusing on is the expansion of what's happening over with Dynamite Hill Farms, where COVID, like I said, enhanced the idea of the fact that, well, we're all stuck at home and we really have nothing else to do but concentrate on the farm. So what does that mean? What does that look like, right? We have already have a 30-acre. We're real lucky. We have this real unique experience where we live on a 30-acre homestead that is privately owned by us here, but it's also tribal land, right? So that's very interesting, right? That's a real different dynamic that not a lot of people have access to. On top of it, we also have a setup where we originally 15 acres of this land was a producing orchard. And so there's this old orchard that kind of got taken over by the wild. And so on our orchards, not only do we have the traditional apple trees and planted cherry trees, but we also have a significant amount of what other farmers may have taken out, which are, we have the sugar plums, and we have our choke cherries, and we have a huge increase of thimbleberries. We have access to wild blueberries, wild strawberries, right? So we have all of these beautiful plants that have been left to be who they are for such a long extended period of time. I don't think this land's been worked anywhere from probably 30 years, I'd give at the least, in terms of like the people who've been managing what this land should look like. And then just behind that, and included on our land and our property, is another 15 acres of this beautiful hardwood maple sugar stand that's on private property. No one else has touched it. And what we found in this last year is we have this additional up to, I think, 80 acres of old growth, like older growth hemlock and maple stand that is directly connected to our land and our private property here that we have just learned that we have access to. And so a lot of what we wound up doing throughout this year, and through the introductions of what we'd like to do with the production here on our land, is that we're able to explore that land now in a way where we can look at it and see, we have, for the first time, I've been working with these trees for a long time now, probably about 4 years. Jerry's been here almost 8 years working with all these trees. And in this 4th year, we were able to learn and understand, because sugar season started right when everything got shut down. So it was really interesting, because for me, I need the rest of the world to leave me alone when it's sugar season. I've got work to do and I have to be out in those woods, and I don't have time for Zoom meetings and phone calls and conferences and whatnot. I really have to concentrate on what we're doing back there. And it was the first few months of silence that I've had in a really long time, where the rest of the world really understood that we're all doing that, and we were all doing that together, which I think really brought out this idea. What does that mean, right? What is it when for the first time, when you can't just run to the grocery store, when you have to really think about what it means to schedule your meetings, or be pulled away from maybe, and you're not going to the office every single day. What does that actually mean in terms of what food production looks like from that traditional, again, I'm real biased, I'm really Ojibwe, so from that Ojibwe point of view. And so that was really resonating throughout this whole existence. My oldest 3 children are homeschooled, and so they spend their time doing food production with us, but all of our other kids were all home too. And so we had our whole set of kids all being homeschooled in like that real Ojibwe sense, right? Like we're out there every day, and it said, you know, we had our kids were learning about what it means to be, how do you contribute to what food production really looks like? It's not just about, you know, like I think someone had mentioned the factory lines and food going through, right? Who's making lunch? Who's going to help with the 3-year-old? Who's in charge of the fire to keep the sugar shack going, right? All of those ideas are really being implemented during this time in a way that was real natural. It wasn't anything we had to think about. We didn't have to develop a curriculum for it. I didn't have to really, it was just every morning, get up. What's today say? What does the weather tell us to do? What are the trees telling us to do? And so it was the first year our family, i.e. our company, was able to actually live very naturally in that process. And I think it's the closest I know I felt as like the mother in this existence. It was the most natural process for us as to almost like you would say, you know, it's like the best R&D could possibly have is like, what does it mean to be a part of this land again? And so we tried our best to do, we understand and knew that there were so many struggles going on and so many people that really needed so much help. So we were really fortunate. We had folks reaching out to us. And so folks like Linda Blackout, and then we had another group from the Pine Ridge community who reached out and, you know, said, you have shelf-stable foods and we're able to we can ship still. And so how about we get those items from you? We want to be supporting small producers at this time. So we've got quite a few, especially right around sugar season. We were going every day. It was Jerry was working on ship in the morning. I was out hauling sap. Boiling was happening in the evening, right? Like we were moving and hustling. And so because we're tiny, that seems like a lot of work for us, right? We're so small that feels like a lot of work, and it felt like a big movement for us. But we were able to do these really beautiful food deliveries in which we knew that elders were getting this food, right? People who didn't have access. We had to do there was a time when the borders had opened from us here towards the end of what COVID was going, and we needed to be able to deliver food with people. And the best case scenario was kind of driving it out there. And so we did this like super sacred food run where we were able to bring food directly to this community and see the checkpoints, right? And the ability for people to access and to address their sovereign rights. And during this time period, even though it was so difficult for many of us to see the people taking it upon themselves to be direct and intentional in their food and their food access was very, very powerful. Because we do a lot of direct sales, we aren't in any stores right now. We do a lot of our sales directly online through word of mouth, and because we're small, we can still do that and still function pretty well. That piece of it allowed for us to promote and provide an educational aspect around food, why we work on it this way, what we're able to do. I was just on the phone about 20 minutes before I called into this session with the local co-op and explaining to them the differences between, you know, selling foods and what it looks like with medicines and how things need to be displayed and why it needs to be that way. Because it's one of the first times our foods were available on a shelf. And at this point in time, we're telling people directly, you know, these are very important values. And they're things that if you want to participate in what this means, right? Reclamation of food and reclamation of land come hand in hand. And alongside that comes this reclamation of people. And so that's been amazing to be able to have those conversations. People have the time to talk about it now, you know, they want to sit and visit with you. They want to see you on a Zoom video. And so that's been a really big part of it. It's been so much less about developing the individual products and more so developing how do we create this, like I think Nathan had said, you know, in a sustainable manner, in a way that really reflects the truth behind what these foods actually are. We have done a lot of like investments on our production, and so we got like a real big old evaporator and a nice big sugar shack, and we're interested in developing more of a sustainable permaculture structure in our backyard. So we've got time to garden, right? We've got time to put all of those in. And so that part, that exploring the land and that educational piece has really been the big driving factor for what we're doing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it seems like you guys are doing so much work. I mean, just everyone in general. Like, again, I always tell people, AIF, we're just sitting in the background, kind of like telling you, oh, hey, this could be a good idea, you know, but you guys are definitely the boots on the ground, really getting in there, trying to figure things out as well. So we are so impressed by the efforts. Courtney, you have another question that you want to go ahead and follow up with?
Yeah, for sure. And no, definitely thank you for sharing your experience with everything. And it's just really beautiful to kind of hear how everybody has had a chance to reflect and expand and just kind of really think about how you guys are promoting your products. But the last question that we kind of want to throw out is for each of you to answer, and maybe we'll start with Dawn with this question. What advice do you have for American Indian or Alaska Native business owners that might just be starting out? What is the main piece of advice that you would want to give someone if they were like, what do I need to know?
Right. As I think about that and the journey that Native American Natural Foods went, is the business, and when you're just starting out, it's grassroots. It's talking to the community, talking to your partners, talking to the supporters, who's doing it, who's not doing it. You know, that's really key. Like I said, Native American Natural Foods started within the community. So we had youth, we had business people, we had elders. Because we were making a food out of a sacred animal and a traditional food that's used in ceremonies, you know, the first thing we needed to do was go into our community and say, this is what we want to offer. This is what we want to do. What are your thoughts on it? And it did come back very positive. And they said, as long as you honor the buffalo, you're going to do fine. So we've always stuck to our values, and, you know, stick to your values, have a good goal, that overarching goal, and just know that just because, you know, if you do fail, that doesn't mean you stop. You just keep going. You know, failure is just part of success. So you just have to continue to move forward. You know, for me, because I'm so tied to the buffalo and to the bison, we're like the buffalo. You face the storm, you continue to face the storm, you keep walking towards the storm, and eventually you are going to come out of that storm. Finding creative ways, you know, during those challenges. You know, that's the biggest advice that I would say. You know, when you're starting from the beginning, especially in our areas, we all know we're using traditional foods, traditional medicines, traditional practices, and we're trying to modernize them and bring them to our people. And to attack this issue that we have, and especially right now with what's happening in our world with COVID, with racism, and, you know, we're trying to take back our food and bring this food sovereignty and this to everybody. You know, we know what we're doing. We use regenerative ag. We use those practices. We don't want to take more than what we need. So that's the best advice that I could say is, you know, talk to people, and then just face the storm and keep going, because failure is part of success. And just because you fail once doesn't mean you keep trying.
Thank you for that, Dawn. Nathan, what advice would you have?
Oh, you're on mute, Nathan. Oh, there you go.
Okay. There was one time we did a show and there was 3 Nathans. So I wasn't sure if you were talking to Nate or me. And I don't know if you were with us, Dawn, or not, but it was 3 Nathans and it was totally confusing. So we started calling one Nate and the other one was like Nathan. And I think I was Nathaniel or something like that. So
Nate 1, Nate 2, and then Nathaniel, I think we did.
Okay, so I'm here. Can you hear me? Okay. So, you know, it's funny because I like marketing, you know, and I can't help it when you go into like a business or retail, my brain will just start, you know, oh, they should put this there, they should put this there. And I, you know, all of us, I believe we probably all have, I see a lot of people smiling. And you want to say something so bad, but of course, just like when people tell us, hey, have you ever thought of this? And, you know, we already got the workload. We're like, yeah, we've been told that. We just don't have time to do it. But I like when people ask this question because it gives me the opportunity to say, you know, what people should. I wish someone would tell me some of these things that when we started, because a lot of times when you start, you know, it's kind of like when you're young, you want to save the world. And that's the biggest mistake, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that a new company can make is to try to do everything. And we found that out ourselves. We wanted to get into every single store that was out there. So we did not only direct to retail, but we were doing direct, you know, online. We were doing like more than what you typically do, wholesale, which in itself was probably not the wisest idea. We learned a lot, but so first and foremost, pick who what you're gonna do. It's actually better at this time, especially with COVID, to probably focus on online sales if you can at this point for new businesses. Retail is not what you think it is. And, you know, we got some people here that'll probably agree. I mean, there's situations that happen. You get a lot larger and larger distributors. You have to, you know, buy shelf space, all kinds of crazy stuff that you don't have to deal with when you're selling directly to consumer. And there's a lot of different ways. To me, every store that you have online is a different storefront for you. If you're on, you know, these different things. So that's one thing I would say is to know who you're going to target and focus on that. Once you get that going, like your online sales, you have that higher profit margin, then start going into the other stores. We actually pulled back a lot of our retail stores because we wanted to be more with people that were in line with us and the way we do things, and that we enjoyed working together. Having all the different retail stores, you know, you'd have people calling you, you know, hey, can we get 6 of these? And it just didn't help us out. It kept us off of our focus. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like a hindrance, but it kept us off of our focus. So we decided just to focus on online sales with a few stores. And we add more stores, but we have to be in line with them. You're working with these people every day. You know what I mean? You want to get along with everybody. And if you don't, I guess get a distributor. But then you're, you know, cutting into your profits. You're having a longer wait time for your money to come back to you. So for a small business, that isn't something that you could do. That's why I'm saying grow it online first. So the other thing, stay focused, of course. That means including in your offerings. Don't try to offer everything. And if you are going to offer something, check with people that are out there and see if they're offering the same thing. And then sit there and think, well, you know, maybe I should offer something different. You know, always try to be unique in your offerings, like something different, you know, that what people are offering, because otherwise you're just, you know, creating more competition, which isn't good for you or the other person you're competing with. So just, you know, start out with something fresh or different, or if it's something common, you know, like, you know, that other people sell, then how can you distinguish your product as being better or different? Maybe it's in the way you handle things, or even tying in the Native American indigenous part to it, you know, that we're following these practices and that, because there is a trust with that. As we all know, there's a trust that people have out there when you talk about Native American culture, because a lot of the things that are out there right now are based on that, and people know that. So there's that instant recognition. Don't overcommit. Keep your promises. So if you got a bunch of orders that are backed up, focus on them rather than going after new customers, even if that means missing a show. Focus on your new customers. You know, all of us, I'm sure we made the mistake of maybe selling a little bit too much, you know, overcommitting ourselves, especially in the beginning of our company. But in the long run, we know that's actually a detriment to your company. That could, your reputation in that area can hurt you. That's why you're better to never overcommit. Fill your orders. Customers that have paid for their orders always go before anyone else. And if you have to tell a new customer that, or someone that's being demanding to you, that's a potential new customer, you tell them, no, sorry, we're going to get that to you. It's probably going to be like, you know, 15 days from now, because we have these other orders we have to fulfill. They actually will respect you for that. And if they don't, and they're demanding, then consider that a blessing too, because maybe that wasn't going to work out in the long run anyways.
Sorry, Nathan. I'm so sorry. We're running a little bit low on
go
time,
ahead. Sorry.
but I really love this engaging conversation we're having. And if we could have more of these roundtables where we can visit with everyone, or even just do single interviews with each and every one of our AIF producers, I think you guys have such a wonderful story to tell that just, you know, shares the just the forward thinking that and creativity that's coming out of Indian agriculture and entrepreneurship. But we just wanted to do one quick revisit with all of the other producers. Just if you could share a quick like shout out, or how can attendees go and find you, or how can they support you? Do you have a website, or do you have a Facebook page, or maybe how do they place an order? So we'll go ahead and start with Michael, Scott, and Nate. I don't know how you guys want to tackle that, but we just are trying to move on before we take up too much time.
Well, I agree. I'll let Mike, I'll defer to Mike to answer that for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think first off, Nathan is very articulate. I think a lot of what he said, we certainly agree with. I think, you know, where we're headed with this is people should join American Indian Foods first if they're starting out. Just wanted to add that, put that plug in, because I think it's an invaluable resource. I think what we're looking at is, you know, some sort of a virtual store, but we did the old retail thing, and that didn't work out so well. We pulled back and did the selling in to distributors, and that's worked out better. And then, as Nathan said, we did direct to large customers that, you know, where we had, where we could kind of, you know, make it work on a scale that could defray the expenses and then making money. Because what we found is the individual sales to consumers wasn't really working so we pulled back from that. But it may be that we may be swinging back to that, you know, with the COVID and what looks to be like at least a year or two of real challenges in the wild salmon, you know, market. But I think we can reposition ourselves given what's going on now with Norwegians. So, you know, we see, I think, you know, some kind of a virtual store, you know, coming in the not too distant future.
Great, yeah, and so quick plug for Arctic Circle Wild Seafood. They have amazing salmon bacon. If you've never tried salmon bacon, it's something super unique to me. I've never even knew about salmon bacon, but and they've got just their fish is quality, and they really support the native community, the Alaska Village there. So we really appreciate you guys joining. And we'll move over to Katie. If you want to just go ahead and share with the attendees, if you let them know how they can order or get a hold of you, that would be great.
Yeah, great. So we're pretty easy to get a hold of. Like I said, we're trying to keep everything pretty contained right now because we're just producing what we can actually manage at this point in time. So everything that we have or are doing is on our Dynamite Hill Farms Facebook page. And anyone can just direct message. It either goes straight to me or Jerry. And then it's really easy to just go right to our Gmail. So Dynamite Hill Farms, all small, at gmail.com. So really easy to get a hold of us. If we get any orders from us, it's Jerry's cell phone right on there. So usually we're talking right directly. We had an elder from the Pine Ridge Reservation called us just last week, 2 weeks ago, and told us hey, I don't know how to cook wild rice. What the heck is this? And got to sit and talk with him and hear stories. So we're still small enough to really be directly connecting with everyone, and it's quite a blessing. So can't wait to hear from you all. Me great job with you for the opportunity to share and a little bit of plugs, and we really appreciate this. Me great.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dawn.
Just ours, quickly, you can go to tonkabar.com. We're in several co-ops. We're in every REI across the nation. Also in Vitamin Cottages, if you're familiar with that, but you can go to tonkabar.com to buy our product. And also, if you want to support producers directly and the bison directly, you can go to tonkafund.org, which if you donate, you can get this beautiful blanket that's behind me that is the winter count of the bison. And you can also get this wonderful shirt. So you can support us both ways with our product and also go to the nonprofit to support the return.
Great. Thank you all so much. And the other plug is you could always visit the American Indian Foods Producer Directory to find a good extensive list of all of the different agpreneurs or ag businesses that are in the American Indian Foods program. Go check that out. It's at indianagfoods.org, and Courtney went ahead and shared that information in the chat box. And yeah, so this is a quick overview of that website. Again, it's just very intuitive. You could either click on a state, it would populate the producers that are coming from that state. So if your goal is to stay to support the local and regional communities, go ahead and do that. You could also scroll down and search, say if you're trying to find yellow corn, you could just search yellow corn and then populate all of the producers across the U.S. that are native, or at least approved, made and produced by American Indian or Alaska Native. But we really appreciate everyone joining us today. I think we're just gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We have a very bonus footage with Herbal Lodge, Nathan Wright. He's going to give us a nice tour, like a nature walk. So if you guys wanna stay on and participate in that way, possibly ask some questions as well, that's completely fine. But thank you again, producers Don, Katie, Michael Scott, Nate Koch. I really appreciate your time, and we love having you in the program.
Hey, thank you for doing this. If doing it more would be great. So awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's good to see all of you.
Yep.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Katie. And I just wanted to mention too, if anybody has any questions about the American Indian Foods Program or anything that we've talked about here today, you can please email them to aif@indianag.org, and I'll put that here in the chat and on Facebook as well.
Great.
Okay, so we got a little bit more time before our next panel. Nathan, are you?
So as I'm speaking, I have this plan, and hopefully you have that video. I don't know if they got that video I sent you, but we got rain. It just started raining here. Did send a video that we can use as a backup. I don't know if you could play that though, because it's from Facebook. I'm wondering if I play it on here and reverse my screen, that we could watch it that way.
We can give it a shot.
Okay, so bear with me. This was done, it's raining right now. Look at this.
Oh.
It's always good to have a backup. See, this is that farmer wild forager mentality, right? You guys gotta have a backup plan. All right, so let me see what we could do. I'm gonna find it. And also, I wanted to share with you guys while I'm looking this up on the Facebook page. When this whole COVID thing happened, a lot of people don't realize we were probably the first group, because we were going to the Natural Products Expo, that was notified that there was an issue that was happening in the world. And it was the first, to my knowledge, of anything that was closed. And it shocked us, because it was like 7:30 the night before the Natural Product Expo happened. It surprised us. Are you there?
Yeah,
okay.
We're here.
Yep.
So anyways, it was just, when that happened, I knew something was going to happen, like on a bigger scale. And I immediately started to reach out to my customers, because it was right around the time that customers normally buy. So I was able to, be able to reach out to them and get them to order before that all happened. And I'm glad I did, because it would have been more of a struggle for us as a result of that. So that's something to keep in mind too. So I'll have this video up. I'm just pulling it up here, and then I'm going to reverse it, and hopefully we'll be able to hear everything on here.
Okay. Well, Sorry, while you're doing that, I know we had some really good questions that were brought up, and maybe what we could do is email them to our producers that were on the panel today and gather some answers from that and possibly attach it to the video when we place it in Mighty Network.
I'm not hearing you well. I'm not hearing you well because of the rain.
Yeah, we talked so much, the rain came down.
I'm almost here.
You're good.
Did you get the link I sent you?
Dan or me?
I'm just wondering if you could play it from your end.
Yeah, Nathan, which, did you send it to Lottie or to myself?
I sent it to Lottie.
On Facebook or email?
Through text. What I could do is I can, okay, so I could forward it to Facebook. Okay, give me a second. Because I don't know if this rain sound is going to affect the sound on it. But you should have it, Lottie, on your...
I do. I have it via text, so let me just go ahead and try to download it and then upload it to our virtual drive. Just give me 1 second. I'll try to be fast. But in the meantime,
I'll continue to do what I'm doing here.
In the meantime, too, you weren't able to give a plug on where they can find your business or how to order from you. If you want to share a little bit about that.
Okay, sure. So you could order from us by going to www.herballodge.com and go under products. You could find a list of all of our products. And then if you use the coupon SAVE10, S-A-V-E, the number 10, you'll save 10% on your first order. So.
Just uploading right now. Sorry about that. Well, we could still have a nice conversation. I see Nate and Don and Katie are still on the line while I pull up Nathan's video.
Yeah, I was trying to answer some questions if there's any questions anybody had while we were waiting for Nathan.
See, if you can send that storm this way, Nathan, that would be nice.
Yeah, we've been really dry here in Wisconsin as well. Haven't really had hardly any rain for the past week, at least where I am, and it finally rained a bit today. I just planted some corn yesterday, so it's pretty nice to get the rain.
Yeah. All right. So it seems that it seems to have uploaded, so I'm just going to go ahead and find it and all right. Looks like it's actually still downloading or uploading.
And maybe that's something that we could also add onto the Intertribal Food Summit Facebook page and just tag Nathan's Facebook page as well. I do know that we have our youth development track here in about, it starts in about 15 minutes, but the whole crew is planning to log on here real soon.
You're good. I got it pulled up, so I'm just going to
okay, perfect.
All right, here we go, Nathan.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to see if I can expand it. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. This is Nathan Wright. I'm the owner of Herbal Lodge, and we're out here doing some wild harvesting in a beautiful area. And I just had to show this to you. We're in a swamp. Ooh, and I'm sinking down. But this is an area behind me that hardly anyone gets to see. And it's so beautiful that I wanted to show you. It's literally untouched, I would say. So check this out. Look how beautiful this is.
This is up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I'm able to do this right now because there's not that many bugs out. This is the type of place you would expect to see like a moose. We're way out. We're probably like 3-4 miles in from a 2-track. I mean, we have them here, but the main ones, and I am sinking in this stuff. So we have a lot of really beautiful medicines around us. You know, we have our
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was not the right one. So I'm just going to, but that one will be a bonus footage too. So I'm just gonna find your Facebook.
Nathan, I know that you do quite a bit of live streams. Where can people find them?
They could go to the Facebook page. So that would be Herbal Lodge on Facebook. I do some on my homepage, but most of them end up on Facebook, and we're going to eventually have a YouTube channel as well. So we do a lot of live streaming when we can, and obviously when we can't, we have backups.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I can just say for our audience here, when we were putting this event together, we'd like to have more of those live streams and be out in the field. And, it's just tough. And a lot of the best areas, it's oftentimes there's no cell service, so you can't do a direct live stream there. But, if you, I put a plug in a couple of times of we've got our e-learning platform. We've got a bunch more videos on there. I just shared one of making some corn, but I'll let Lottie play this video here.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay.
This is Nathan Wright. I'm up here in northern Michigan, and I'm going to take you on a quick medicine walk. We're going to talk today about some medicines that are good for the coronavirus. Now, I'm not, disclaimer, what I'm about to tell you is not intended to treat or cure any diseases. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you some Anishinaabe indigenous knowledge, and hopefully it can help you and your family. And if you need, if you don't have access to it, I'm going to try to offer you alternatives as to where you can get some of this medicine if it's not available in your area. So first off, we're going to start out with tamarack. Tamarack is this tree. It's normally yellow in the wintertime. You can identify it by looking real closely at the bark. It kind of twists up, but normally it has in the fall time like these little yellowish leaves at the end, but I'm not seeing any that have it right now. Whole stand of it right now. You see these little dots on here, these little buttons. So all of this back here that you see is tamarack, except for that one tree that's balsam poplar. So that's what it looks like. So what we look for when we're harvesting, here's a good example like this. You see these two trees here? You got, and I want to be really precise with everyone. You got this one here. You got this one here. Now this one is just, I'm going to stand next to it. This is about just underneath my height. I'm 6'4". So this is the kind of one that you look for, one about this size. I mean, I just heard a noise. It was my boot. I thought it was a bear. This one here is a little too tall. You can use it, but you're better off to use the smaller ones. Now, I want to teach you about sustainability and harvesting that. So you see how these are close to one another? There's a root underneath here that goes from these two trees into the bigger ones. Here's the bigger one here. So this is feeding off of a root. And when you feed off of a root, you're able to harvest them sustainably because this tree is connected to this tree. But you see the problem that you're going to have as these get older, this one's going to grow underneath that one. And it's better that this has a space. So I look for situations like this where they're close to each other. And then I cut like right down in here. And then you trim off the branches and then you shave off the bark. And that's what you use. So it's kind of like this. You see how these two trees have grown together? They're now fighting. They're competing for space. So actually by us coming out harvesting it, we're actually helping the plants grow. Here's another good situation. Look, I could get, in this situation, I could get 1, 2. Oh, we're getting a blessing from the thing. I don't know if you hear that. It's a crane. That's what I am, crane clan. So in this one, these are a little taller, but I would still kind of get them like this one, maybe this one, and then this one, and then leave these two here. Just to give you an idea of how I think when I'm out harvesting. Sustainable harvesting. Let's go in here. It's just a little swampy here. This one, I would probably leave by itself. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but it is important that you guys understand how to harvest.
Oh, shoot.
Never come in here and just get everything, you know, just harvest it properly. So that's tamarack bark, good for H1N1 and swine flu. I believe it's a great immune system builder. You would take the bark and maybe take about a cup dried and add it to 4 cups or 4 quarts of water or 1 gallon. Bring it to a simmer and then steep that overnight. Bring it to a simmer for 20 minutes and then steep it overnight, then refrigerate it. I've been drinking some that's about 12 days old and it's still really good. So let's go on to the next medicines here. I think we're going to be looking for cedar next, and pine if I can find some. I don't see any pine. Now cedar's kind of easy to harvest, but
All right. Sorry about that, Nathan. I gotta get it cut to get ready for the next panel. But we absolutely love your knowledge and the stories you share. So we'll go ahead and share this information and link it into the Mighty Network page. And then I also have the recording you sent over so I can start building in a Mighty Network platform, and I can work with you on the back end with that. And let me just go ahead and stop share. But is there any other information, or do you have a Facebook page? Do they have to add you as a friend, or do you have your own Facebook like open page where they can just go and connect with you if they, if you do any of these nature walks? Were you able to hear me on the? Sorry, did you hear me, Nathan? Sorry.
So I'll just quick go to Herbalodge. Find Herbalodge on Facebook. You can connect with Nathan and more of the videos on there. I know he's got a pretty extensive collection of them and more coming. I know our other producers also have some great content. So please check them out. Lottie had the map of all of the, well, not all, but of a growing list of producers that you can find on the website there. Lottie, do you want to give a quick plug and then we'll wrap up?
Yeah. So go ahead if you want to visit and view any other producers that are in the Indian Foods program. And you could go and visit the www.indianagfoods.org. Or you can get a hold of Courtney or I at aif@indianag.org, and we can respond to any questions you might have. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We'll just go ahead and you tune back in here shortly. We will have another roundtable.
We'll be back on in about 5 minutes. See you on the next panel. That's our youth panel. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.